make sure it doesn't. You read that as X bar. It's a fairly famous statistical construct, X bar. Anybody ever heard before in different classes, X bar for average? Oh, okay. We've all taken an average, obviously. But this is the first one you've heard it shorthanded this way. It's defined to be the sample average. Now we talked last time about the difference between a sample and what the sample is a part of, which is called a... what's the big thing that you really want to know something about?
Population.
That's it, the population. And the population has an average too. And it's got a special symbol, which we'll talk about eventually. But I'm not going to talk about it right now, though. What's the problem with talking about the population's average?
You can't take it.
You can't get it, right, Jacob? Population is generally, Gesundheit, Rory, too big to actually calculate. You can calculate sample averages very readily, though. Very readily. And I love what John and Richie mentioned earlier. Their definition of the sample average was add up all the data. Add up all the data points, I want to put that. Add up all the data points, values-ish, and then divide by how many. And that's great. It's also crappy mathematics to write it like that, because I'm fusing English and math together, and that's kind of a dangerous place to live. So let's put some symbols in our vocabulary right now. That'll help us throughout this term. That'll come back and again to us. Adding up all the data points. Whenever you add anything in mathematics, there's a very special symbol that gets used. You may have seen this before. It's the Greek letter sigma, capital S in Greek. It's also very popular in fraternity. 3 Greek letter sigma phi. All the guys are always drunk on my campus when I went to college. So I went to lifeguard at 5 in the morning. They were still hung over in their front yards. So I'm not passing judgment, just on University of Delaware fraternities. Sigma means add up something. So whenever you see a big sigma in mathematics, it means add a bunch of stuff up. What are we going to add up? Well, we're adding up data points. How we notate data points is just an X by itself. So there's a difference. You have an X bar, which is the sample average. And the bar is what makes it special. When you put the bar over the top, that's indicative that it's no longer a data point, it's the average of all the data points. Why? I have no good answer for that. It's just the one that's been handed down to us. Okay? Don't know why. That's how you add up all your data symbolically. And then you divide by how many data points you've got, which in this case, we denote with a little tiny n for sample size. So little n is your sample size, big sigma means to add, x means data. That's it. That's a really nice, concise way of saying your average is the sum of your data divided by how many you got. That's a real nice, concise way. We're going to refer back to that constantly in this class. Constantly, in the beginning I'm going to hit it hard pretty much all the time. We'll pull back from it a little bit as we add more to our vocabulary, but then I want to come back to it again and again and again because there are so many different ways of taking averages. But all of them refer back essentially to this big idea of adding data and dividing by how many you've got. Any questions thus far? Any questions so far? Pretty straightforward, yeah? Let's put it to work. Let's put it to work. I collected some data from you guys last time.